Eat it. No.
Well, hello everyone. Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're going to do a review of Dave the Diver Anniversary Edition for Nintendo Switch. Let's do a brief overview and figure out what this game is all about. So first up, I have to thank Cindy Erickson6440, one of my viewers who recommended this to me about 6 months ago. It took me a while to find it physically and to play it, but I really enjoyed it, so keep the recommendations coming. So in brief, this game has two very distinct gameplay loops. The first one has you down in the ocean collecting sea life and ingredients, and the second one has you up at the surface at night, serving all these ingredients at a restaurant. This sushi restaurant is where you make all of your money to buy all of your upgrades for your suit to go back into the ocean and go further and carry more back. In turn, you'll also gain social standing in which you can grow the restaurant itself, upgrading it, having more customers and more servers and cooks and whatnot. The game, although being very separate in this aspect, it works fantastically well in tandem, and you kinda have to see it to believe it. It's a very unique and one-of-a-kind game. So let's dig in a little deeper now to the gameplay. So the first half of the gameplay loop is the ocean exploration. And there's a lot to do here, because every time you jump in, it's gonna change a little bit. The game has a certain amount of roguelike nature to it in which the world does evolve and move around a little bit. Now, all of your set quest markers and set areas are going to be the same, and you're always going to be able to find the limestone cave and the entrance to the sea people's village, if you will. But other aspects will move around, such as locations of special items and upgrades that you'll get every time you get in the ocean. The sushi side to this, the restaurant side to this, is a little bit different because it sees you managing a restaurant and actually controlling the flow of business. You manage your cash flow, you manage your hiring and firing of employees, you upgrade and train them, you select the duties that they do. It really revolves around your own intuition with the business and how you can grow it at what works best for you and your exploration under the ocean. Once again, if you try to grow the business too fast and you haven't really gone in and found enough fish, you won't make enough money and you'll have some problems. It really encourages you to start off slow and build your business as you're exploring the ocean. You also have a crafting and upgrade system to this, and there are some pretty cool boss fights. The cutscenes are fantastic, and everything else that really puts this game together meshes well. So let's move on to the story. So the story in this game has Dave the Diver get a phone call from one of his good buddies who says he's opening up a sushi restaurant and he wants Dave to be the official ingredient catcher. Dave agrees to this, moves to the island, and meets Bancho the chef, a crazy, amazing sushi chef who has his own traumas and his own things he needs to experience and deal with in his life. The colorful cast of characters in this game is pretty eccentric, and they all have their own little nuance and details to them. You'll also run into a group of sea people who have their own issues going on, and a scientist who just wants to study them. There's also an environmentalist group who are not truly for the environment, and some other crazy characters which will really have you on edge going, what the heck am I even playing? All that aside though, the story is really well done, and it moves at its own pace. It doesn't get in the way, and it kind of hovers along with how fast or slow you move through the game. One of the aspects I truly enjoy to this too is that the cutscenes are so well done that they make the story come alive. This character right here was pretty annoying the first time I read his dialogue, but after this scene I fell in love with it. So let's move on to combat now. So the combat in this game is pretty fun, if albeit simplistic. You have a main weapon with your harpoon, which has unlimited ammunition, but it has a little less attack power than your secondary weapon, which has a finite amount of ammunition, but you can build different weapons and you can upgrade them as well. I like to use the shotgun, which you're seeing here, but there's also a tranquilizer dart, a net gun, a sniper rifle, a regular rifle, and other options that you'll find throughout the game. You'll find these blueprints, and as you discover more and more of them, it'll allow you to build the rifle and upgrade the rifle. You'll also need different crafting ingredients to do this, and the game also has a melee system, which you dive every time in with a combat knife, and you can find upgrades for it. There's a baseball bat, a rubber chicken, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. So I highly recommend checking out the combat because it's kind of surface level simplistic, but at the same time tons of depth. So I think we should move on to our next category, the controls and audio, and we're going to start out with an audio piece. What'd you think? Kinda different, huh? All the boss fights and enemy fights are in that weird techno kind of music, and all the rest of the world is in this very serene, peaceful background music. There isn't like any one track that I can pick out and tell you that's fantastic. It's more of the ambience to how the whole audio feels as you're playing through the game. Every time you go into a different area like that, you'll discover something a little different, and the sound is pretty fun. The controls in this game are very simple for what they are too. It's left, right, up and down, use your attack, use your boost. I mean, there's really not a lot to it. The only thing I'll say is that you have to get used to its very floaty nature. The controls in this game are not exactly what I consider the best for the precise combat that they ask you to do sometimes. And there's not really any one way to fix this per se, as they're trying to get the right feel of the ocean. So, yes, you do have all of the necessary components and ingredients, but it's something you gotta get used to. Let's do graphics and animations now. So first of all, if you're a fan of pixel art, then you will love this game, as the gameplay itself is gorgeous and the ocean looks beautiful every time I'm in it. Then you come up and see a cutscene like this, which blows your mind, and then you have a very vibrant and animated quality to the restaurant itself. All of this is absolutely stellar in my opinion and really makes this game shine and stand out in the performance sector. The only thing I really have to truly mention is that from time to time you will see some frame rate skips, which kind of throw you off, but none of them occurred during any important parts to me. They didn't happen during any boss fights or any times that I was really trying to be fast with the buttons. Most of the time I noticed this when I was out in the ocean in a big wide open area and the frame would jump ahead or behind a little bit. It's kind of a weird thing, but not really a big gripe. That out of the way, the game looks absolutely stunning, and they did a great job with the field of depth and how big they made the ocean feel. As you probably noticed in most of the backgrounds here, the ocean has 4, 5, 6 layers deep on it, and everything looks three-dimensional while being side-scrolling. The only thing that really looks pixel art itself is your character. Most of the world is very, very much a three-dimensional object. These are pretty unique things to see in a game like this, as it probably took quite the budget, but let's move on now to conclusion. So in conclusion, this game turned out to be the sleeper hit of the year for me. I didn't know what to expect, nor did I know that this was even a gameplay loop that I'd be interested in. Having played it for as long as I have now and built up my restaurant to the way I want it and explored most of the ocean, I can pleasantly report that this game is a must-buy. I picked it up for about $30-35 at my local GameStop, but I realized that it probably won't stay at that price for long. I don't know if it had a big print run or not, but games like this tend to be unique and they tend to get snatched up quick. It is a must-play and a must-buy, and if you're on the fence, I hope this video convinced you. So, I really think that this game is something that the developer needs to get more support on because they have a very unique outlook on game making in its whole. So thank you for watching today's video. It was a blast to make. I upload every single Monday. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre27Kane signing out.
Thank you.